Hi there, and welcome to the BIMvoice podcast. My name is Petru and I'm glad to have you here. I'm a civil engineer living and working in Norway since 2014, and I'm passionate about building information modeling. I truly believe change is necessary and inevitable in our industry. To implement faster, better, and less costly ways of working, digital transformation is vital, and everyone involved must stop just talking about implementing BIM and actually do it. And what way to do it better than just to learn from the ones who have done it in the past or are doing it right now? Hello, and welcome to a new episode of the BIMvoice podcast. Today's guest is the BIM manager in Statens the Norwegian Public Roads Administration. Welcome, Eirik Aasbakk.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to be here.
Let's start by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Eirik, and now I work as a kind of a BIM manager for all the engineers and constructors in the division for the bigger projects in Statens Vegvesen. So my background is that I'm a civil engineer, and I've been working with designing roads for some time, and over the years my interest in BIM has just developed more and more, and so my task also has become more that way. So now I'm working kind of with BIM all the time. Yeah.
So, you are helping other engineers and planners in your company on their projects.
Yeah. I try to um, get it out there as much as possible, and I try to push the owners of the projects to implement it more and more. I try to help out and do some technical work so that we can use BIM and use VR, for example, and new tools, and trying to make it try to add value to the project in that way. And also, I try to get them interested in the subject. And so my goal is that once they have tried some of the possibilities which lies in BIM, they won't go back. They want to request it next time in their next project. So that's the main goal.
What do you understand of BIM? What is your explanation for this?
Uh, for me, BIM is kind of it's many things, but I think the most important thing is that it's structured information, and 3D geometry is one part of the information which lies in BIM objects. So if you get this established, that we can just have a lot of information on geometry, then we have a lot of possibilities going forward. And we can, I see in the projects I've been working on, we can just reduce risk so much because we have full control over all the elements in our project. So and now there's so many possibilities with scanning, georadar, uh, and all of this. There's a new trend, I think, that at least in our company, that all the leaders want to have their information presented in dashboards, and I think that's really achievable with the BIM models. We can extract information from our models, and we can present it to them in just a web browser. So that's great.
Wow, yes, that sounds very positive. How do you do that? What tools do you use for that?
We have used on the recent project. I worked at E8 Ramfjord, which is the road into my city, Tromsø, and we saw that we needed to engage all the neighbors and politicians and we needed to make the plans understandable for them, because traditionally we have presented like large text documents and a lot of drawings, and yeah, it's nobody reads that. So we needed some way to like get our information out there. So we used Arkis Online for that. So we just presented the road models and bridge models to an online solution, and now it's online, so everybody can have a look at it and understand the project better. But yeah,
You said Arkizon.
Arkis Online.
Arkis Online.
It's a yeah, we have used Arkis Pro to like to make the presentation, and then we publish it online with this Arkis Online tool.
Okay, so you make it's a visualization tool?
Yeah, for now it's a visualization tool, but it can be used as much more than that as well. But we haven't gotten that far yet. We wanted to the traditional way, when we have when we are doing a project, we need to get input from the neighbors and politicians and all kinds of other stakeholders. So and mostly that is done by like having a bunch of meetings, and also we do a lot of sending out letters by mail, and it's just really a tedious process. So but Arkis Online lets us it makes it possible to like do that just online. So it's much easier for us. Yeah, but it's early days still. So but that's definitely the road that we're heading,
Wow.
trying
Uh,
to simplify. Mm.
That sounds a very smart approach actually, because this is very important actually to take the the most possible input you can get from everyone involved in this, everyone who is going to use the project in a way, the final product. Is there any way to get any feedback from the involved parts here, from the stakeholders as well?
Yeah, yeah, we haven't enabled it for our project this time, uh, but there's just a JavaScript application on top of the viewer, so you can have the end user can just like point in the 3D model, add a marker, and fill out their comments. And they can also upload if they have some documents and so on that is relevant to the case, then they can upload that as well. So it's kind of like BCF. Uh, yeah, they have their own. It's it's kind of early days, so I don't think they are like totally compliant with the BCF schema, and there must be some development done there. But I think that's the future, when you can connect all the BCF topics from the project team, and you can kind of see that, and you can also have the BCF coming from other parties as well.
What do you mean by BCF?
The BIM collaboration format. You know, when you can, if if you use Revit, for example, and some other guy on the project is using another tool, then it's possible to mark up things in the model and send that to the other person. So we have actually used that a bit as well in our project, because then before we as road designers needed to just be part of the meeting just to present the model. So we needed to like spend half a day just traveling to some meeting and just to sit there and rotate the model. But we see it's much more efficient to just have the project leader grabbing the 3D model with him, and he can kind of take notes directly in the model and send it back to us who gets gets the messages, and we can fix the issues that they're pointing out, or comment on them, or stuff like that.
I understand. Do you use any specific tool for this, or you just use the same model like in Revit, writing the issues and using email to send everything, or you use a cloud tool or something?
It's now we have been using NovaPoint the Quadri model, which is quite a common tool in infrastructure or road projects. So they have made it possible to use topics in their application, so you can send messages back and forth. So we have been using that a bit, but we see that to integrate other tools, we want to integrate ArcGIS Online for that, and that's a little bit more. We need some development there to make that work. So now it's not as smooth as I wish it is. I wish it was, but I think we're getting there.
Do you have any developers in your team or in Statens Vegvesen that can help you if you need help with something to customize anything?
No, that's been I really want that. I wish I had that, but not yet. But I'm trying to. I'm begging for that to happen. So, but actually, me and a colleague is quite nerds, so we do a lot of scripting and stuff. But we are not good enough yet to make all of this happen, I think. So yeah, I will just continue to ask my boss for that.
Yeah, yeah. This is a symptom I've seen a little bit around that, and this is, I think, is one of the reasons that the things are not going so fast as we might expect. The top leadership is not so well informed actually about how this to implement the BIM mindset and philosophy better from the top, from the start, would help the projects. And I think there is a work. Actually, this is something I have on my own agenda. I need to find a way how to do that. I don't know yet how I'm going to do it, but I've seen this. For me, to be honest, it sounds very weird, like such a big entity, a state company, to not have uh, some developers in house to help with the project.
Yeah, we have. Don't get me wrong, because we have a lot of developers, but I just haven't gotten the resources on my project.
Okay, for BIM
Yeah,
on your department. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I understand.
mm,
But
mm.
yeah, yeah, it's something that we need. Maybe we need to find. I don't know. We just need to keep asking until we
Yeah,
are going to get
yeah,
it right. But it's
yeah,
something that must happen because it's necessary. Like we use so much technology in our work, right? And it's yeah, it's a necessity. It's not a luxury or something.
yeah. I think so. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What about research and development? Do you have someone working only with this, or it's you who's doing this, who's trying to look out for innovative solutions or trying different softwares, how you could use them on your projects to improve the workflow or something?
Yeah, actually, we have just. I don't feel like we had Statens Vegvesen has just been through a major transformation by this. It's actually been a few, or since we have been a new organization since January, so things are kind of still settling a bit. But we have started a. It's called Digigruppen, which is supposed to help the project on like testing new software, implementing new things, For example, VDC, how can VDC help our projects? Which tools are we going to use, and so on, and just to like share experiences and try out new things. But also we have, so this is the kind of a day-to-day thing, more or less. But we also have a lot of research going on in what is called virksomhetsutviklingstiltak, or the English word is something like organization development projects. And there are actually some very interesting things happening there on the BIM side. We have this project called VU53, which is trying to create a data model for BIM models. And the idea here is that it's going to be totally parametrical. So you have a framework for parametric models. And this is done in a format which is called the GML, Geographic Markup Language, which is basically XML, but it's in compliance with the OGC standard, which is like all the GIS, the standardization organization in the world. So so we are trying to develop that because GML will work in all phases of a project, from early design phases to construction, to get data out in the machines on the site, and also when we want to asset information after the as built data.
Can you use it also for maintenance afterwards?
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah. So it's I have a really strong belief in that because I think IFC is very is great, but I think
Limited.
one problem with yeah and it's not parametrical. So you mostly get, like, if you get an IFC model, you can't do anything about it other than like checking if it's checking it or you can't redesign it. So that's what we're trying to achieve with the GML, and this is we are working together with Nye Veier on this, and Kartverket, and others. Yeah.
That's really good, and this actually is something that our guest in the first episode talked about. And he mentioned something that we don't actually need IFC format. We don't need a standardized format, but actually what we need is interfaces that we can take the data from everything around us and just model it how we wish, so we can use it. So actually, what if I understood correctly, you are doing just that. You are building an interface that you are going to use to do that, to use the data to design, build, and use or manage the project afterwards.
Yeah, we're basically building a data model, a data schema, which sets requirements for how is if you take a road model, for example, how is the road model going to be delivered to us, so that we can have control over it, and that we can use it to and then I think maybe the most exciting thing I think is that when this is established, then you can go away from like transferring files. You can just stream data over the web from different services, web feature services. So I think that will be one idea, is that, with circular economy and all the stuff that's going on there, if that's going to work, we need to know where and how many resources are available. So we can, for example, take 10 kilometers of a road, which is going to be rehabilitated. And if we know how thick the asphalt is, how much we have of all the components. We can say that, okay, just an example, if you can say to the entrepreneur that if you manage to reuse 95% of this, then you get the bonus, for example. You get an initiative to like look at the material as a resource and not just as waste, you know. Mm. But that's really difficult to do when we don't know what's in the ground. But I know that Statens vegvesen has a lot of data that we have, and also there's new possibilities with the use of georadar and machine learning. So I think it will be possible to know this, and then we can. Yeah, I think that's really exciting.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about machine learning. I'm very interested actually about this.
Yeah, I'm on the verge on being single right now because I'm so interested in machine learning, actually, because I'm just sitting with, like, reading about it all the time when I'm home. So but yeah, we see a lot of actually that's also this kind of turns out to be a commercial for ArcGIS, but I'm just so in love with that software because um, we can use it comes with a lot of Python libraries for machine learning. So so we see that it's possible to, like, just do traffic counting with just a video camera. So we can use image detection to count vehicles, for example. We can use machine learning to locate cracks. That's also image detection, and we can log that in a map as we go. But I was on a conference, Stikningskonferansen, where there was this company in Trondheim who actually use georadar and machine learning to, like, get an understanding of where is the bedrock. And now they were going to test that out on smaller with drones, and try to do that in small scale project as well. So and I just talked to those guys. I'm not an expert in the field at all, but he said that it's really promising, and the algorithms get better and better all the time, and yeah, so it's a hope that in the future we can just scan and see what's kind of detailed what's under the ground.
But shouldn't that be already information available in yeah, from drawings?
Yeah, kind of. But the traditional method is like we have to drill holes, and we can't just drill holes everywhere. So and it's quite expensive as well. So what they were doing is that they were combining data from holes that they had drilled, and laying that on top of the scans or the data they were getting from the scans, and then they were able to map between they can see that here is some this kind of soil, and there's another kind of soil here, and they can just see how the structure is followed, how the structure was laid down in the ground. But it was quite early days there as well. So but it's exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely very exciting and necessary. Like you said, you need to know what you have in order to know how you can reuse it, because we are very in need for that. We need to start this mindset shift as well regarding that we don't have unlimited resources, and we need to be smarter than we are today on our building sites.
Yeah, totally. Mm.
Yeah. You said something about VDC before, and I remember that you finished the VDC program at the Norwegian University in Trondheim. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What did you learn in this program?
I think it was a great program because the whole I feel like everybody just came together and shared experiences. Basically, I think that was the key takeaway from the whole thing. And also, the VDC framework is like it's really good to like establish a common mindset on how to work in model-based projects because you know before when we were using drawings, then there was like long periods. Then you had to have a meeting, and then then you had then there was a period of design and another meeting, and so it's like it took a long time. But we see that what basically the thing I was just like totally understood during the course was that the thing that takes time is like waiting for somebody to respond. You have a question, and maybe you send them a mail, and then you get an answer like 2 days later, and then you can move a little bit forward. But if you add all of these things up, think about all the requests that is happening, large project, then like if every question needs 2 days to be answered, then it's going to take a long time. So the thing is with the VDC is that it establishes a mindset for how to deal with this. We need many iterations. We need to collaborate across organizations, companies. I think everybody on that course just understood. Like when we were finished, we had like a common understanding for, yeah, this makes sense. We should be working in this way. And also, there's a lot of focus on measuring stuff. And one thing that we are using now is the Model Maturity Index, which has been established from EB, EBA.
Yeah, the organization for general contractors in
Yeah,
Norway, right?
yeah. So they have developed like this framework for describing how far you are in a project, and that's really helpful because then we can use that as to plan the project. And it's it's no use to like have the guy who's doing all the um, for example, also you need to do things in the right order. So the road designer needs to be a little bit has gotten quite a bit before the other ones needs to like work full time on the thing, and so it leads to a lot of we save a lot of time with that approach,
I
I think.
understand. Um, yeah, you said VDC framework. What is the role of VDC in BIM, or how do they play together?
Yeah, in VDC, then BIM is like one component in the VDC framework. You have 5 components, and it's basically that you need to establish the goals first. The owner's goals must be translated into project goals. So that's like the first two key things, and then you have BIM because you want to use the best tools available, and then you measure stuff, and then you need to like have a plan for what are you going to do when things go wrong or you start lagging behind. How are you going to deal with that? So that's the whole thing, I guess. But uh, for me, it's much more of a mindset than like this strict set of rules. We need to. The key takeaway for me is that we just need to work better together, and VDC creates like some common words that we can use to understand each other. and yeah, common processes.
It's the challenging with this. I think it's very unclear. Uh, like the same with BIM, right? I think this is one of the reasons people struggle to really understand and learn and adapt more from BIM. Uh, we have many concepts out there. Every time there come new one, and it's a little bit misleading, and it becomes harder and harder to understand. I might maybe exaggerate a little bit, but for how I try to see now at BIM, like I said, a philosophy or a mindset, but not only as a tool, but a way to think. And when I'm thinking about the information, I'm thinking about actually everything that you have as information, not only what you use in the 3D model, but like you said, for example, you get input from the different stakeholders, right? That input is information, and you are going to use that to design and to build a project that they can take advantage of that. And when you think from this maybe holistic point of view, every kind of every bit of information you get in. So uh, from that point of view, I see like BIM like a big circle around everything that needs to be taken into account from each department and each actor to be able to deliver, and not only deliver but only to use and monitor the facility over time, because we don't build for 10 years, right? We build for 50 years, and especially for infrastructure, we build for 100 years, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit you design different parts for different periods and so on, but yeah, the time span is definitely very long, so it's good quality is it's important.
Yeah.
But you were saying that, so you see BIM like if you have like this Venn diagram, then you have like BIM is the whole circle and you have different things. Is that
Yeah,
how you see it?
I don't say I'm right, but this in this is the development of my understanding of BIM after starting to talk so much with people. So I'm still, I like I said, is not something that is set in stone. It's something ever developing. But since everything is like, when you say BIM is building information modeling, right? So you model information to build things. So every bit of information you have that plays a role in this, yeah, it's used in the process, right? But like I said, it's so easy to interpret how you wish, right? But at the end, actually, what is the most important thing from here is that uh, we need to try to work better together. I think there is the this is where I want to get with this, because if only some of the stakeholders involved in the process, they try to do the, it's not possible to do it without everybody understanding what you try and why you understand why you try to do it, right? So from this point of view.
Yeah, I think for me the Venn diagram is like if you think of it in the context of VDC, then like the whole Venn diagram is the VDC, and then you have like the building information models in one of a box inside that, you know. Uh, but uh, but it's much more like what what information do you need to put on the objects,
Yeah,
and that's VDC helps a lot in doing that.
yeah,
So you need you know you can define your own information on there. So
yeah, I completely agree with what you said, because you said building information models, And when you put it that way, I'm thinking like a 3D model complying with BIM.
Yeah.
You said it, BIM information model, right? But when you think, like I was saying, about modeling the information, and just don't think when you use modeling, the modeling word, don't think about the 3D model itself, but like a way that you manipulate the data, the information, right? From this perspective, I mean, I don't mean
Yeah.
only about, but yeah, that is another term, building information model. Because yeah, when you say that, you mean the model you build in 3D with the information you need. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's so easy to misunderstand, or to understand a different nuance, right? Because it's so differently used from person to person, from organization to organization, right? So yeah, but I don't say that some of this is wrong. It's like we are allowed to have our own opinions, right? And like I said, I don't say that this is right. I'm always trying to learn more, and try to look for more authentic informations to reinforce that what I think is actually true, and or not. So yes.
Yeah, for sure. I understand what you mean, and I think there's a lot of commercial who has gotten mixed up in the whole thing as well. You hear this, all of this, like digital twin, and what is a digital twin? It's like, is it and the same thing with the BIM models. Some say BIM models, and it's just a 3D geometry, but that's not what it's about. It's about adding useful information to whatever you are dealing with. And a digital twin as well. What is that? Is that is it a point cloud of the scanned thing you are building, or? But no, in my mind, that's a new discussion. But in my mind, that's like a set of microservices working together to deliver data, combining many sources of data like sensors and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the digital twin right now, it's a buzzword. What do you think about the other organizations around in the construction industry here in Norway, uh, about their um, state of BIM adoption?
I think the situation in Norway, I think it's still early days, but I think we have gotten kind of far. I think has gotten very far compared to many other countries. So I think we're doing good, but I think it's still early days. And I think a lot will happen. And I think the whole thing with, we have this long phase of just like trying to get people to understand what it is, and and how we are going to use it. And I think just like everybody is learning all the time. And I noticed this mind shift from a few years ago. Then it was, what's this? What's this? A lot of people was kind of skeptical, but I feel that that's gone. That's kind of disappeared now. And I think uh, I think also that there's a lot of great, really inspiring people working in our industry now here in Norway, which is and they're also willing to share their knowledge. So that's the thing that I really love about this industry now, is that, uh, and I also think that's kind of unique for Norway, because it's weird to like be, you have this guy working at this company and he's just sharing all his knowledge with another guy who works in a competing company. That's kind of, that's very good, and I think everybody sees that that is very beneficial. And I also think that that's going to be like a main advantage for Norway in the years to come, because we trust each other. So uh, uh, yeah, and I actually heard the ones for that, because they have tried to have like this VDC courses in other countries, and then there was a problem that people didn't want to speak to people across other companies, because that would be like leaking information and stuff. So, but that's not an issue here. I don't feel that at all. So
Wow, you cannot say that you use or you adopt BIM if you have that mindset. That's the biggest challenge. You see it right there.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you cannot say you use BIM if you have this mentality. Like you in a world where you adopted BIM from before planning, like to the study phase to using and maintaining the project. Like if you want to do all these phases, everybody needs to be involved and share their information. That's
yeah,
right there. Oh my god. Yeah.
totally agree. So yeah, and it's a lot more fun and social as well.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
we grow together as a society, as a continent, right? Why not? Why not as an entire planet? I don't see any problem with that.
me neither, but there's a different cultures.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy that we have this mindset here.
Yeah, I'm also happy and grateful for being here as well. I've been here since 2014, and yeah, I like you said, the last years I've seen lots of good things happen, and yeah, I just I'm looking forward to see more and more.
But you mentioned you worked in England before,
No,
or no? Sorry.
no, no, no.
Okay. Okay. Just because I'm a little curious about England, because I know also that they have gotten very far.
I will soon have some guests from there as well. And regarding VDC, I plan to have to invite someone from the university actually to try to help clarify with the misunderstandings, with to get a better understanding of BIM and VDC and how these work together and how we should look at things. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's something I have on my calendar.
great.
Yeah. Um, Regarding you said, yeah, that we you are happy and we are excited about this, of course. But are there any parties from these that are doing better than others? Like when you look like from a role perspective, like designers, builders, and asset owners, and don't think only about statins like this, because uh, like you said, there are happening many good things, but it's a big company, right? A state company, a state-owned company. But there are many other actors, like municipalities, kommuner in Norway, right? Do you think they are up to date regarding this, or they need more help to get there?
I think they need more help, definitely, and I think that's uh, basically all the asset owners needs to start like really demanding control of their own information, because right now I think um, for the like in the earliest contract where we said that we are going to use BIM, then it's like, okay, we are going to use BIM, but you need to specify what kind of information do you need, and the asset owners must really embrace that, and like we need this information because this is going into our digital twin or asset information model, whatever you want to call it, and that's really useful information. So so I think there's so much who needs to be done there. But one issue which I think is maybe the most problematic one now is that we lack standards. So if you have this one project where you have a bunch of people who's really uh, interested and want to try to like do all this, create an asset information model, then you can do that for only that project, but it doesn't scale because you don't have a standard that you can like follow. And like I think we need ISO standards for that we can build on. And luckily there's a lot of work underway there. It's, you know, when you buy like a TV or something, you get this brochure that goes along with it, like a PDF document, with a bunch of technical informations. And I know that right now they are working on like how can we make this information machine readable, so we can start requiring and looking up all the projects in a database which satisfies this kind of functions and demands, and we can choose the right one that we need. So I think there's a problem with the lack of standards right now. But
But are you, for example, Statens Vegvesen, are you working on such BIM compliant standards? I know you have a handbook or something, but is that up to date? Is that what you mean? Like, is that enough uh, compared to what you wish it had been?
yeah, we have two initiatives going. The one I mentioned earlier with BIMvoice, which is trying to create a data model that we can use to set demands and stuff in our contracts. And the other one is called VU04, which is basically about asset management information. So in that project, which I'm not involved in that, but I know they are working on how can they use the BIM models afterwards in a longer perspective. So I know there's work going on, but I'm just really eager to get started. So I wish they would just finish tomorrow, so we could just start using it, you know. But it takes some time.
Yeah, I understand.
But there's work going on. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I have regarding what is happening right now in the construction industry, at least in Norway. I have this feeling like we are in that phase where Google has been in 1990s, uh, a little bit before 2000s. Uh, like we are so close to get where we want to get, but we're still struggling, and we still have elements that drag back this, uh, are opposing to it, even if it will just delay a little bit. It cannot stop this anyway, and this transformation is going to happen. And I'm just thinking, if like because Norway is a small country, right? If you develop a strategy or something that can be applied in the entire country, like and to focus on this, like maybe United Kingdom is doing with like the mindset and the laws they got out regarding BIM and such in a span of like 5 years. Can you imagine what that can mean if you can get there in 5 years instead of 15 or 20 years? That can have a huge impact in the progress to get there. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a thought, and I felt to get it out there.
Yeah, I think in 5 years, I think it's going to look a lot different. So I don't think we're looking at like 20 years, and not at all. I think we're in a few years, because this V53 is supposed to be finished next year. And then the software guys need some time to like implement it in their programs, and then all the users needs to know how to use it. And hopefully, I think that will be a driving force for that. And you know, mm, because then Statens Vegvesen can begin to demand like this. We just yeah, it's going to be like a demand from us. So we want to use like our position to like push the industry in the right direction.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So
And that's very good. Like I see Baninur aligning as well with this. Statsbig is doing already this, and this is great, right? But
yeah.
I still think we need to find a way to drag together with us the other ones that are not doing.
Well, you have I wanted to like uh, give some credit to the guys at Building Smart because they are facilitating a lot of things. So we see that a lot of things that happens is by people from different firms coming together.
Are there any other exciting things happening in the AAC industry that excites you? You said a little bit about machine learning. We talked a little bit about VR. Is there anything else you are looking around for?
Yeah, it's too much. I don't have time. So that there's just don't not enough time, you know. But I think VR is really exciting because and AR, and I think the next step now is uh, now we have like these great software companies who enable us to go into the like experience the models and stuff. But I think the next step now is to like create applications in VR which is useful for the use case. For example, we have before we build our projects, we need to have this security revision, traffic security revision on the project, and then uh, there are certain people who's doing that, who's certified to do that, and they use mostly drawings to have a look at like how is everything set up and stuff. And I don't think that we don't we miss a lot of stuff going that way. So I think it would be so great to like build applications where you can just be in the seat of the driver and just like check out for all these things. That's is the line of sight okay here? Is there some bad geometry here and stuff? I think we could just make better projects, but that's it's not enough just to like be in a VR model. You need tools when you are in the VR model to yeah to be in the seat of the driver. So I think that's the next step in VR. So that's we need to develop games for doing that. But that's kind of when you ask the boss about, hey, can I develop a game? Then we are not there yet, I think. But I'm hoping we'll get there.
Yeah, I think I've seen some work regarding this.
Hmm.
There is a company from US, Civil FX. Did you heard about them?
No?
No. They used to make visualization for projects, and I think they got a grant from Unreal Engine to develop something regarding traffic, some videos and something like this for in United States. So that might be something that can be done. I don't know to what degree, but it might be something that is actually happening earlier than you would expect or think. Aside of VR, is there anything else that you think might be useful? Robots? Do you have any? Do you use robots in any projects? Drones and such?
Yeah, we use a lot of drones. Uh, um, we do that just to, and I think that there's a great possibilities with that as well to like to have to use drones to scan the project certain times in the building phase and also before. We use drones also when we because Statens vegvesen we don't only build roads, we have we look after the roads as well. So we use drones inspect, like this, rock slides, where there's danger for rock slides and stuff. And there's many use cases for that. So yeah, now it's really become quite cheap as well to use that kind of technology. So I think it's
Do these drones work autonomously, or you need to navigate them where you want to navigate them?
I haven't been working with that specifically, but I think they're not autonomous yet. I don't think they have using that possibility yet, you know. What about your project? Are you using it? Okay. I'm kind of interested in, have you seen like the Boston Robotics? You know, with the dog that's walking around on the,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, is that just a gimmick or is it really adding value to the project? Or is it like,
I don't know.
I'm- I need to find out.
In the last episode, the episode before this, I talked with Øyvind Kjellesdal from IF Gruppen, and he said that they are using some skeletons that can enhance your powers. Like you have them back, and you can use them to lift some big weights and such. Right? They are trying that. They are not using them full scale, but they are trying that. And he said it's working well, and it's not very advanced technology either. It's not anything automated or something. It's just mechanical, and springs, and you just pull and drag some things, and you you move things. Yeah, that's something interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and I think he said they use also some robots that are scanning the building site from a Spanish company, Scaled Robotics or something like that.
I have a lot of Googling to do afterwards.
Yeah, that's no problem. You just need to listen to the previous episodes, and
Yeah.
you'll find
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
will.
What else can we do to speed up the process? I know I like we both agree like the things are going on the right direction in Norway. This is a very important precisation because it is not the same around the world. What is there anything else you see that we could focus on to try to improve to speed up even more this?
Yeah. To show good examples. That's the only way I found. If you have something you want to test out, just uh, do a quick demo, get a good presentation going, or like do a good example so they see that it's working. For example, with the ArcGIS stuff, we just tried it out. We just spent a couple of days just setting the whole thing up, and then there was like we showed it to the owner and the project leader, and they were like, "Yeah, we're going to use this." So that was much more powerful than if I was just to like talk about it in general. Like, yeah, we have this thing that we think might work. Uh, just try to make it work and have an example to show, and then they will tell you if they don't like it or if they like it. So right now we're also testing, like we have bought this augmented reality set from Trimble, Trimble Sight Vision, and we are setting it up now because we have in our project here, it's also here in Tromsø. We have this discussion with some other parties, external parties, and they are concerned about how the road or is going to fit in the landscape. So we are just wanted to show them with the use of VR. So we're just going to meet them there and show them the models, and then we'll learn if this is an effective tool. And I believe that it is. I think they'll get a much better understanding. So I think, yeah, just my approach is at least to like try to create an example, even if it's like in your spare time or something, and then just show it to them and try to get money to develop it further.
That's so nice to hear, because and motivating and empowering for me as well, because this is what I wish this podcast to be. I wish to be a platform where I can showcase good examples that deserve to be followed. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was nice to hear.
yeah, thanks.
Regarding uh, planners that are not understanding or not using or did not adopt yet the full BIM mentality or approach, right? What could they do to learn to become more proficient in this? And even more importantly, why the old way is not good, and how can they come to the good side, if you can put it that way?
Yeah, uh, I think that society or the whole industry is changing, so you just have to keep up. And I don't spend so much time like trying to convince people, or I do to some extent, of course, but it's not like if if I if I just notice that here's a guy that is really not interested, then I just move on. I don't spend so much time like trying to like sell the thing. I just try to push it on to help the ones that's interested in, and and it's a good idea to like find some project leaders who is have an offensive attitude, and then it's much more easier. And if you try to like push it on somebody that really don't see the point, then you're just going to be exhausting for everybody, I think. So I think there was a time before actually a very interesting thing. We have the here in Vegas, we have like it's before Christmas, all the pensionists who worked there before come in and they drink coffee and eat cake and stuff, and we talk together. And so I spoken to this guy who worked as a road designer back in like way before I was born, and he said that it was really tough work because they were just the whole summer they were just out chopping woods. So I'm just trying to figuring out where they should build the road, and then they went from I don't have the whole history, but there was a similar shift, when we went to AutoCAD or dock systems. There was a similar thing then, and there's nobody out in the woods now chopping woods before they're like trying to. So it's just a natural thing. I think it's just you have this early adopters and you have this like late who's skeptical, but it moves forward kind of natural. I think if you have good examples to show, then it will speed up the process.
Yeah. Are there any specific resources that, for example, these people that might be actually interested to learn more and to improve their skills, and yeah, maybe to move to a full-time position where they can work more with BIM? Are there any resources or yeah, things to do you would recommend?
Yeah, I'm quite a nerd, so I do a lot of like I read a bunch online and stuff, and I read like the things that comes from Building Smart, and I look at all the webinar or most of the webinars coming out of there, and also I use a lot of I see that it's very beneficial to learn some coding. So to have some Python courses online and JavaScript and stuff. So I think all the resources you need are basically available for free online. And so if you're interested and you have like this drive to spend time on it, and it's kind of a hobby, then it's just everything is available, I think. So, and I would also like to recommend the BIM Corner not podcast but blog. But yeah, the point is that you have a lot of courses online, and I use LinkedIn Learning also. I think it's good, and also all the software have really good documentation. So if you want to learn, for example, ArcGIS, then there's a bunch of very, very good resources to get started there.
Yeah, so you just need to be willing to, and grab some. Yeah, it can be easy to start with LinkedIn Learning. You can find more than enough to start with, definitely, and you
Yeah,
can find it for all kind of disciplines. It's not focused only for designers or only for constructors. You can find even for asset owners, which this is I think a little bit more difficult. I still see and I think because they don't yet understand completely why they need to learn more about this as well, because their role is also very important. It's vital in this process because they
yeah,
are going to use the building or the asset, and it's important. Yeah, maybe they don't need to learn Python, or who knows, maybe it can help you anyway. You don't know, right? Maybe you can use it to automatize something, or to automate something, or to do something else. I don't know, to connect it to a dashboard or something to see data in a different way. But yeah.
I think the most important thing is that they need to be aware and how can they use this as a resource afterwards and have full control. And it's not very fun to like have arguments with other parts in a project because there was some kind of misinformation or misunderstanding or something, and that's really tiring to do. And I think for them it's important to understand that BIM can really help with these kind of things. There's like doesn't necessarily have to be a lot of discussions. Just look at the data.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much, Eirik. It was very nice to talk with you. Thank you very much for everything, and for taking the time to be here with us and sharing your experience.
Thanks for having me. It's really fun. So looking forward to hearing the next podcasts.
Awesome. You must start now listening to podcasts as well, on the top of watching webinars and everything else, if you were
Yeah,
not
I
doing
will.
that before.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.